Before we dive into the program, Holly, it's time for this week's Joke of the Week.
Yeah, so this week's Joke of the Week is, what is brown and runs through your yard?
An ostrich with a UPS shirt on.
A fence.
Oh, a fence. Okay.
I mean, not all fences have to be brown, but close enough.
All right.
This week's garden joke is brought to you by Rescue.com. American-made rescue products keep your family, home, and yard protected from pest insects like wasps, hornets, yellow jackets, flies, ants, and more. Learn more at Rescue.com. It's RESCUE.com.
Well, it's this time of year and when the preparation for the coming season needs to be had. And we're talking about planting fall bulbs for spring and summer beauty. There's some things in which we need to know in order to do this correctly so we can have those bulbs and flowers bloom at the right time next spring.
Right. So, yeah. So you can, you need to know when to plant them. So we're going to talk about zones 1 through 7.
Yep.
Which should be
which is everybody. I've been we're looking at most of our stations are in the 3 to 7 range, but this general in climates where cold winters, the bulbs can be planted in the ground in the fall where they can chill and have enough chill hours in order to properly grow and develop the blooms that you are requesting them to in the spring.
Right. So the fall bulbs, yeah, so that's exactly right. So in the fall, you want the ground temperatures to be around 40 to 50 degrees and 6 to 8 weeks before the ground freezes.
Now, a good guess on when that might be. The general rule of thumb is if you can dig in the ground, you can still plant them. You really want to get them in the ground prior to like December so they have enough chill hours to start developing a root and there'll be a little growth, but so they can get established and they can do their thing. They got to have that cold hours. Now we hear stories of, I forgot to plant them and they're in the garage. Can I plant them in the spring? Yeah, you can. You're probably not going to get the results that you're wanting. So let's do it in the fall like we're supposed to.
Yeah. Yep. So you want to do them in the fall. I know, like you'd said, people will do them in the spring or forest bulbs or whatever.
Forest bulbs, yeah. We see that around Mother's Day with daffodils. You get them in this little cute little container you pay like $9 or $12 for, and a week later they're dead because they can't sustain themselves in this little 4-inch pot, and they force the bulbs. I mean, people will plant them in the ground, but likelihood of those really being a long-term investment is pretty slim.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So you want to keep that in mind, especially if you see those in the store. So where to plant fall bulbs? You want to plant bulbs just about anywhere in your garden, as long as the soil drains well. The Dutch, who plant millions of bulbs every year, tulip bulbs, they say bulbs don't like wet feet, so you want to avoid areas that the water collects, like basins, bottom of hills, etc.
Now, if you are one of the creative, artsy, crafty type, you can choose a selection of bulbs in which you can plant in the fall, and you will which will successionally bloom. You got to stack them so the front ones bloom first, and the next row, and the next row, and the next row. So based on where you're at and what you're looking for, this can be done. Now you can get your fall bulbs at jungseed.com. That's JUNGSEED.com, and use coupon code 10TG24 and save 10% off your order. Also, all coupon codes you'll hear throughout the program and have heard this year are found at our parent website, the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com, under the Money tab at the top of the page.
That's very helpful. Yeah, so that's the point where to plant them. And then you can prepare the soil by making sure that it's loose and workable. So you want to remove any weeds, rocks, debris, big sticks, what have you. And then if it's not an established garden bed, you could add some organic matter. So say like out here by where we live, there's this one kind of cut through road, and I've seen them on the side of this like random hill, daffodils. And so that would be a situation where like it's not an established garden bed. And so maybe you just kind of dig around, put some organic matter in there, and then plant your bulbs. So you can mix in like compost, organic compost, and that would be organic matter.
Now, you can do bulbs in a container. We've seen this done. It can be done. However, the challenge is just like people who plant fall garlic in containers. The elevation of the container exposes 3 sides to the air instead of one side when it's in the ground, the soil upside. And if it get too cold, it will become a giant block of ice and can damage or prohibit your bulbs from growing. Now, you can also, larger the container, the more soil, the less likely that may occur. And you can also do the layering effect where, like, alliums need to be about 8 inches deep. And then you could go like a daffodils, they can be 8 inches. So you do one layer like a round that's 8 inches, then you do another round inside of that circle with croches. Something that's 4 inches deep or 3 inches deep, where you can get multiple different flowers that are going to bloom at multiple different times in the same container. You can also do that in a very limited amount of space in your ground too.
Right. Yeah. So that's the options there. You want to make sure that you are digging the holes the proper height, depth.
Now, these, when we talk about fall bulbs, Holly, we're not talking one and done like a carrot or a tomato. These are annuals or perennials. These will come back year after year after year. So the moral of this lesson is, do it right the first time so they will continue to come back for years to come. Now, you may have problems with squirrels coming in and digging up the bulbs in which you have planted. So there's a couple of options in which you can utilize in this aspect. Chili powder. You can plant the area. Let's say it's a 4x4 square foot bed area. You can sprinkle chili powder over that area. It will get in their nostrils. They don't like that. They have sensitive noses, so they could ingest it, breathe it in, they go elsewhere. You can also lay chicken wire down or poultry fencing down to prevent the squirrels from digging up the bulbs. And then in the spring, when you see the bulbs begin to emerge, you can remove that wire if you feel that it needs to be removed, and problem solved. So that's 2 of several options in which it comes to working the bulbs in the ground and keeping them in the ground. Again, you don't want to put them in an area where you're going to also have a lot of water flowing through, like a valley, or where you're going to have channels of water that is going to that naturally flows through your property. Oh, that's kind of a low area. It needs a lot of water. I'll put it there. You're going to flush the soil off of the bulbs in the fall, and they will not be able to get established in the spring. We had that happen with garlic a couple of years ago. We didn't plant it deep enough, and then we had a lot of rain and not snow, and it really exposed the cloves. Where the cloves were just rooted in the ground, the clove was above the ground, the roots were in the ground, so we had to come in the spring and dig them back in. It does work. It does. You can dig them in, but you want to make sure you plant them in the right spot at the right time and use good organic matter in order to supplement the nutrient that the plant needs when you're planting.
Yeah, you said it. So the bulbs, they go into different depths, as we talked about. So just to give you kind of an idea, the crocus, the hyacinth, those go a little bit shallower at 4 inches, and then daffodils, most tulips, and irises, and then the alliums go in at 8 inches. So that's where they go.
Yeah, and there's other ones in which that's just a few. We don't have time to go through all of them. So if you're interested in fall bulb planting, you can certainly get your bulbs from jungseed.com. Use coupon code 10TG24 and save 10% on your order. And design something in which it will be low maintenance. And then once you get it established, like in the spring as they come up, you can really put a lot of mulch around it, so you can know where they're at, and you can have a permanent flower bed that will work for you, that you don't have to work for it. Well, Walton's Incorporated works for you because they offer a great coupon code, but also they have products that also work.
Yeah, we are brought to you today by our sponsor, Walton's Inc. We know you care about where your food comes from. Canning and preserving your fruits and vegetables is great, but what about the meat? At Walton's, you can get the equipment, seasoning, and supplies to make sausage, jerky, and any of their meat products your way to your high standards. Do you want to make snack sticks that people will actually like? Walton's created meatgistics.com, an informational site to help you make the best finished product. Walton's has the full line of their own meat grinders, mixers, and sausage stuffers to help you go from animal to edible. Walton's everything but the meat. You can use code GROW50, that's GROW50, to save 10% off your orders of $50 or more.